Hello and good day. This is Punchline. We are First News Nation on Punchline. We discuss national politics. I am Sammy. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening on all other episodes of the program. And for those of you who have followed us on social media, thank you. If you're not familiar with our social media handles, let me quickly introduce you to our Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok accounts at First News Nation. The audio versions is on First News Nation's audio account, which is News Nation FM, on Facebook, Instagram as well. We're also proud to inform you that you could watch our programs very soon on Afia TV, showing on DSTV channel 254, Go TV channel 17, and as well on Rapid TV on Star Times channel 176. I am Sammy Ajifo. We have something to talk about. It's about planes, runways, and money. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's still Punchline. I'm still Sammy Ajifo. Thank you for joining us. On Thursday, 26th of April, 2023, this year, I want you to take note that it happened in April this year. So calculate between April and the month of November, how many months that is. So, Thursday, April 26, 2023, Ebonyi State government under the leadership of Engineer Dave Umahi, who is currently the Minister of Works. On that day, Ebonyi State launched its international airport. So much criticism about whether Ebonyi State needed an airport or not. Well, it happened that in April, the airport was launched. It was called the Muhammadu Buhari International Airport, which was later changed to the Chuba Okadibo International Airport. It received international airport status, even though that was the first time it was coming on stream. Enugu State Airport, the Akanibiam Airport, which is just a neighboring airport, had never been international. It had been a normal local airport for a long time, up until President Goodluck Jonathan made it an international airport. But the Ebonyi Airport immediately became an international airport. That's not the conversation now. To demonstrate readiness, the airport, Air Peace landed at the airport on the next day, Friday. Now, according to news, it was called a brand new runway. A brand new runway. That's what was termed. The runway was termed a brand new runway. And the international airport cost around 36 billion. That was the official figure that was disclosed. The airport cost 36 billion naira to build. Now, as much as it happened, there were so many people who came to show up for the airport, the first landing. The state government even offered indigents 2 weeks free to fly the airport between Lagos and Abuja to Ebonyi. So if you're an indigent of Ebonyi State, in the month of April and May, the state government offered all indigents free flights to Lagos and Abuja for 2 weeks for the next 1 month. That was April to May. Now, according to Umahi, President Buhari actually approved 10 billion for the takeoff of the airport. So the presidency gave 10 billion for the airport to be taken off. Good. Then, when the governor then, Umahi, was giving a speech, he said the airport will require expansion in the future, not upgrade. Expansion. That's what the governor of the state said on the day of the commissioning. Well, here's the thing. The governor is a lover of concrete. He used concrete on most roads in Ebonyi State. And he also used concrete on the runway. According to international standards, you don't use concrete for the runway. It is uneven and it could also damage flights. However, against international best practices, the airport runway was made with concrete. Now, the new governor, Governor Francis Nwifuru, approved an extra 13.7 billion for the upgrade of the runway. According to what we hear, after the runway was commissioned and the airport was supposedly began to fly or something, we then heard that it is wrong to use concrete for the runway. that requires an extra 13 billion to correct the mistakes that Engineer Omahi used for 36 billion. Later, we found out that it was not actually 36 billion that was sunk in that airport, it was 42 billion. So, an extra 13 billion has been added to upgrade the runway of an airport that was never used. Local airlines have refused to fly that airport because of the runway. So there are many questions that come to mind. Who in the Ministry of Aviation gave approval that that runway will be okay? Who? We need to ask that question. You don't use concrete for a runway, use asphalt. So who gave the okay that the runway will be made using concrete? Where was the Aviation Ministry during the construction process? Was it that the Aviation Ministry had hands off from the construction of the airport and left the governor to decide what materials will be used? Who was consulted? Who was the consultant for the construction of the runway? That airport has not been used for one day. Now, an extra 13 billion. In fact, they said they approached several contractors for that runway upgrade, this runway upgrade. Julius Berger and several other people, and their timings did not meet up. Some people gave 10 billion, some people gave 15 billion, some people gave more than 15 billion as their quotation for the repair of the runway, but they have settled for 13 billion naira for the upgrade of the airport that was never used. Well, the Commissioner for Aviation and Technology has said, well, we have given it to IDC, and you know IDC? Yes, Infrastructure Development Company, whose projects, well, is left to the state government. If they feel that is the best company to run that, it's left for them. However, we're talking about the fact that the airport was never used for one day. After the day it was commissioned, no one flew in that airport till we speak today. Maybe the state governor will probably be flying it because of his private jet and all that. And it's not good for flight. So maybe the state governor is still coming to Enugu to fly out, or maybe taking a helicopter and flying out to wherever he needs to go to. Was there no due process? Here's another thing. Have you noticed that Peace Air is always landing in airports, mostly in the east? I can say that in the east. Mostly in airports that, have some controversial leanings. In Anambra Airport, Peace landed. And after Peace landed, we still had some issues before flights began. Peace was also the first to land in Ebonyi. Well, you might say he's trying to support his own eastern brother, but would you also think about standards and quality when you're doing that? That's another question we need to ask. Why is Peace Air always the first to land whenever there is some kind of government means to show that they have created a new airport? Peace always is the first, and Peace didn't show up again. Peace hasn't showed up till today. You can't go to Peace website and click to find a flight to go to Ebonyi State. It's difficult. So this also puts a dent on the Honorable Commissioner of Works' campaign to use concrete technology for road construction for federal projects. If this showed that the governor didn't listen to advice then, if it showed that concrete is not always applicable in all instances, then his crusade to make sure contractors use concrete would face a real backlash. As a matter of fact, the runway at the Ebonyi Airport has so many defects. It is cracking, it is separating. So even the quality of the concrete needs to be put into question. Why was there so much rush? If the airport was supposedly supposed to do a big job of, bringing investment and development, why didn't they take their time to make sure all the T's were crossed and all the I's were dotted? What was the rush all about? That's a big question we need to ask. And that's what we're asking right now. So where was the Ministry of Aviation? Where were the consultants? Who were the consultants in this project? Now, if you put the 42 billion naira that was supposedly spent to build this airport to an extra 13 billion, we're talking about 55 billion naira spent so far on an airport, and that 13 billion is just for the runway. Now, the Commissioner of Aviation is saying that they should be done with this project within 6 to 8 months. So add 6 to 8 months, you will know that probably for a whole year, the airport has not been in use. And there will probably be staff who are being paid there. There will probably be utilities being used at the airport. Meanwhile, the airport is not being used. This is more of a dent on Governor Mahi than it is on Governor Nwifuru. And like I said, it's going to put a big dent on Governor Mahi's campaign to make sure that we have concrete technology used in federal roads construction. I have never been to an airport, landed at an airport, where as soon as you hit the tarmac, you feel concrete under your feet. Never. But the Ebonyi State wanted to show a different example. Today, the airport is not working. And of course, the state governor has offered 50% mobilization out of 13 billion. So we are guessing that, the work will start in earnest. Whether IDC will deliver well, whether IDC has actually built any airport runway is left to be seen. Now the Ministry of Aviation has been approached. I have a feeling that the Ministry of Aviation were not taken into consideration. Or somehow, Nigeria happened and then processes were boycotted, and that's what we have today. So money is constantly spent to correct a mistake that would have been solved earlier. I always have a saying, it's better to prepare and prevent rather than repair and repent. I hope someone in politics and government is listening. It's better to prepare and prevent rather than repair and repent. Well, in 8 months, we'll see whether the airport will fly. But I'm also asking another question. Even if the airport had a golden runway, what will the patronage be like? Have you looked at what's going on in Asaba? Have you looked at what's going on in Onitsha? That's a big question. That's Punchline's episode for today. Thank you for joining us. I'm still Sammy Ajufo. It's a pleasure having you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to all our social media handles, Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube at First News Nation, just the way you see here. Enable notifications on all these platforms so you could get latest updates on all our shows. Thanks to the production team. I'll see you again next episode. Don't forget, do all you can to stay safe.